I, 24F, feel uncomfortable with the relationship my husband, 32M, has with our new neighbor, 31F. I'm 24F. I am married to Brad, 32M. We've been married for a year and have two beautiful 3-year-old boys together. We moved into our house 2 years ago, in Brad's hometown. About 2 months ago, a new family moved in, a couple and their young son. They were walking around the block and we were outside. Brad immediately began waving at the wife and saying hi. She ran up and it turned out that the two of them were best friends back in middle school. Christina, 31F, is married, 36M, and has a son who is also 3 like my twins. Her husband works at a nearby base and I'm in the medical field. Christina is a stay-at-home mom and Braz works from home. But the nature of his work is usually that he has a certain amount of projects to get done every day. And then he's done. He's generally up at 5 every morning, so he usually begins his projects then. And by the time the twins wake up he usually finishes all of his work. Though he sometimes works more after they go to sleep. Christina and Brad have begun hanging out a lot during the day. Since the boys get along so well, they do a lot of fun things together. Hiking, going to the park, etc. But also everyday things like going to the grocery store together. They say it's easier because the boys keep each other entertained. I've voiced my worry that Brad is just making Christina watch the kids the whole time, but both they and the kids have confirmed it's not Brad dumping all of the responsibility on her. Last weekend, Christina's husband and I were both available, so we all went for a hike in a spot that the boys really liked that they went to a few weeks ago because at the end was a small waterfall. As we were hiking, it was apparent how close Christina and Brad had gotten. He had told me how close they had been in middle school. That they had drifted apart in high school because they hung out with different friend groups. Brad has told me that they get along great. That he's happy they've rekindled their friendship. But I hadn't realized how close they were. They have inside jokes. They go to the grocery store together with the boys. Brad has even begun cooking dinner with her and has it waiting when I get home. Christina seems very in love with her husband. They invited us over for a barbecue the other night and they are both very in love. They're taking about when they're going to have another baby, etc. I'm just kind of uncomfortable that my husband is this close to another woman. I don't know if I would be like this if my husband was this close to a man. But my husband doesn't have any male friends he's this close to. It doesn't help that Christina is absolutely beautiful. She's smart and talented and way funnier than I am. I don't know if the jealousy I'm feeling is misplaced or not. I don't know if I should talk to him about this or not. I feel like I should add in that I definitely don't think he's cheating. They invite me and Christina's husband to come with them all the time if we're not working. She's really open and kind to me, so I don't think there's anything fishy going on other than the friendship. Your jealousy might be misplaced, which would obviously be a good thing. But that doesn't mean it's unreasonable. Sometimes we're just insecure. And that's okay. I bet you have so much going for you and yet you're comparing yourself to her. You're afraid. You're self-conscious. That's fine. It happens to all of us. But who better to prove you wrong than your husband? Tell him how you feel. Don't come in with the intention of blaming or suspecting. Just be honest about how you feel. Hopefully he will give you the reassurance that you need. After that, it might also help to get to know Christina a bit more. Building a friendship with her might also help you understand and see things from her point of view. Plus, when you get to know someone, it often shows that they also have their vulnerabilities and insecurities. Just like we do. I mean, I guess I'd agree with everyone saying talk to him about it. But in all honesty, this doesn't seem like a problem. If I moved back to my hometown and ended up living next to any of my close friends from primary, secondary school, I'd be exactly the same, regardless of gender. You're sure there's no infidelity? There's no problem here. Maybe try and organize a girls' night with her though. So you have your own bond separate from him? So your husband both works from home and is a stay-at-home dad? It sounds like he is doing 2 jobs. So finding someone to help lessen the load is probably a huge relief. If anything, I'd encourage him to find even more friends who have young kids. There's more stigma for men caring for kids, and the social support aspect can go underappreciated. Also, what's the neighbor's husband like? You seem to like this woman. Or at least acknowledge her strong points. So should be friends with her too. If you are uncomfortable with any woman who you perceive as being better than you, or better in one aspect, then that's something you should work on separately from your relationship to your husband. Absolutely, you should talk to him about it. These feelings will only eat away at you if you let them fester. This is more than likely 100% innocent, and your husband doesn't realize how it's coming across. There's no harm in saying you feel it's developing a bit further than you're comfortable with. A few questions. 1. Does he still spend time with you and show love and affection? 2. Is he generally a friendly person? 3. How well do you guys communicate? Answering these questions will reveal a lot, in my opinion. It sounds like your husband and yourself aren't doing anything romantic, date-like, during your own time. You should start doing that. Talk to your husband about how you feel as well. One idea is that you pick one night a week where you'll watch your neighbor's children while they go on a date night, and then they watch your children while you and your husband go out. And like another commenter said, strike up your own personal friendship with your neighbor. Can you imagine having a best friend from middle school you lost touch with and then finding out you both have 3-year-olds and live near each other? That would be so cool, especially for the kids. I would be stoked for him. Gender doesn't usually matter when we're kids. We just get along and see our friends as other people. That's how it is with platonic friendships between people, no matter their age or gender. And just because we become more romantic and sexual as we get older doesn't mean those friendships have to be romanticized or sexualized as well. Take this from someone who's been cheated on in the past and totally understands your concern. What matters is how your partner and she respect one another and your families. And it seems like they both have a healthy respect for each other and their partners and families, and aren't crossing any boundaries. In fact, they invited you over to welcome you into their lives openly. I would take every opportunity to get to know her and make a new friend smile. P.S. My partner is still best friends with his old BFF from high school. They actually dated for a while back then, but it didn't work out. They decided they made much better friends. A couple years ago I met her and her siblings, and they are very awesome people. I can see why he's friends with her, and feel lucky to be welcomed by her and her family. I can imagine why people can feel anxiety or jealousy. But you have to clear your head of all doubt and look at the evidence around you. If your partner is genuine, open, honest and trustworthy, then you don't have anything to doubt. If she is happy in her situation, and you and your partner are as well, and they are simply acting like old friends without pretext, trust it, smile. Don't let this feeling stick around, weigh on you and slowly ruin your self-worth and relationship. He loves you, and built this life with you, and wants to share this old part of his life with you now. 2. Just think how they might be able to watch your twins so you and your fella can go on a date winking face. I think You need to tell your husband, in a non-accusatory fashion, what you're feeling. Overall, yes, this is an intimate friendship. It's the kind of friendship you often see between two women. Because we've normalized, as a society, close intimate friendships between the same sex. Especially women. But not the opposite sex. I don't see anything particularly alarming. The bottom line is, does your husband respect your relationship, and is he going to uphold proper boundaries? I hate to be this guy, but he's 32 and you're 24 and you're already married with 3-year-old twins? How old were you when you met, got married, had kids? I disagree slightly with the "this is a problem. Talk to him about it" people. I support healthy open communication. But I think just complaining to him about how this makes you feel won't be that. He's not cheating. He has a friend. The friendship seems healthy and helpful and good for your kids and even for you. Your jealousy isn't unusual. But it also isn't helpful or healthy. The solution is for you to get comfortable with the situation, rather than for him to spend less time with his friend. So I think open communication is essential. But maybe via some couples counseling where you can both talk about it openly and work together on some healthy ways of dealing with your jealousy, which seems to be the actual problem. There is a lot of gender role impressions that our society pushes on us. Most of them aren't true. I'd try to work through this if I were you. Cross-gender friends are almost always good for someone's emotional growth. Consider what exactly it is that is bothering you. It might help you to find a solution. Could it be that you're really jealous of is that they have time during the day to go hiking? To have someone to hang with at the store? To cook dinner together? Etc.? They are having a relaxing good time while you're at work. I am jealous of them. 2. I personally think you have nothing to worry about. But I will also tell you that in your place, I would probably feel the same way you do. But trust your husband until he gives you a reason not to. I think your insecurities lay more in how your husband feels about you. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But when you mentioned that she is prettier, funnier than you, it gives me reason to believe that you think your husband will begin to develop feelings for her since she is a better version of you. I think you shouldn't be worried about their relationship as much, since she seems interested in her own husband. But maybe tell your husband your insecurities and ask him if you and him can spend more time together or do some activities together with your kids or just by yourselves as a reminder that you are the woman he fell in love with. I'm sure your husband wouldn't want you to hide your feelings. And you know what they say. Communication is key. You're allowed to feel how you feel. Of course, but he's not doing anything wrong. I would suggest working with a therapist to help deal with your insecurity here. Ultimately, this is a you problem. It sounds like you will talk with him about this. I will not debate whether you do that or not, since my opinion may not be the one most often shared here. But understand this. No matter what you say, the moment you bring up anything related to his relationship with her in a serious way, things will change. If you get the sense that he has been completely open and honest, then it is likely he isn't thinking of anything that you would be worried about. However, when you introduce the idea of your insecurity and fear, you introduce an idea. No, I don't mean an idea that will cause him to cheat. Not at all. I mean, he will now stop just being a good friend where he has done nothing wrong, and in fact, has been a person who completely loves you and supports you, to always judging each activity and interaction and wondering whether it's okay with you or not. It has the potential of taking away his natural relationship with a friend that has showed zero disrespect or issues for either marriage. All partners should communicate, of course. But that doesn't mean there aren't consequences for the way that you communicate. You need to make sure you tell him that you trust him. That this is your insecurity and is not based on anything he is doing. And you don't want to interfere with their friendship. But you are being open with him. The worst thing you could do is create fear and concern when there is no reason. You have admitted. There is nothing he or she is doing that is wrong. This is just you. Make sure he gets that. He loves you. He will likely change things to accommodate you. But I don't like the thought of him having to change things in response to fear and insecurity. Figure out a way to communicate with him where he doesn't have to stop doing things that are innocent and fine and make him happy, which also make you happy. Finally, you say it's a funny story, but you lied to him early on about your age, when it would have been a big factor for him to know right then. Slice it any way you want. You were dishonest with him at the start and for a very long time. He stuck with you. He talked and understood. And you stayed together. That was real. Give him the same respect and consideration he gave you when there was an actual issue about honesty versus now when he hasn't done anything that you can think of. I understand feeling a little uncomfortable, but I also remember having preschool-age children and how important other parents, it was usually moms, with kids the same age were to me. Parenting 3-year-olds can be tough, as I'm sure you know. And having a friend with kids the same age can be a lifeline. If you trust your husband, I don't think this relationship is weird. I do think it's fair to tell him you feel a little uncomfortable about how close they are. But the reality is, other parents he hangs out with when he's with the kids are likely to be women. Be honest and ask him about your concerns. I have been there and it eventually turned out bad. We were new to the neighborhood. They would always hang while the kids played. Eventually my and the other husband ended up doing something. Alcohol was involved, but other issues on my side had been there and unfortunately was the cause of something occurring. I am not saying it is the same as yours, but I would never leave or trust a man alone again. Jealousy is primarily a sign of self-doubt. Take the Volikov's test, a test for a complete analysis of your character. Look at the level of your self-esteem. And I also advise you to check your willpower and propensity to addiction. If you are so dependent on social services networks, this is a real lifesaver for me when building any relationship with people. I highly recommend it. Boundaries are important. Maybe he should create some without ditching the relationship. I would definitely recommend an honest conversation with your hubby about it. It may adjust his behavior so that you are more comfortable, but he can still be close with his friend. But also he may just reassure you that he truly loves everything about you. And there is no reason to be concerned.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.